theology of.
Welcome to the Holy Hackett's front room.
Indeed.
A view you don't see often because we usually keep you in the office, so welcome.
So we're trying something a little bit different today.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to hopefully do a little series called The Theology of.
Dot, dot, dot.
Dot, dot, dot. Don't forget the dot, dot, dot. Very important. Which is hopefully going to look at some kind of popular culture things like musicals, films, TV shows, whatever.
Basically, we're going to take all the things that we like and try and find God in them.
Absolutely.
It's as simple as that, isn't it, really?
And it gives us an excuse then to watch things that we really want to watch, but do it for work.
Yeah, so watch this space, because Married at First Sight Australia might appear here at some point.
It will not.
Or Love Island, of course.
It will not. So this is the first in the series, The Theology of...
Hamilton the Musical.
Enjoy.
Woo!
And I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey, yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey, yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. It's time to take a shot.
How does a bastard, orphan, son of a whore and a Scotsman, dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean, by providence impoverished in squalor, grow up to be a hero and a scholar?
The $10 founding father without a father got a lot farther by working a lot harder, by being a lot smarter, by being a self-starter. By 14, they placed him in charge of a trading charter.
And every day while slaves were being slaughtered and carted away across the waves, he struggled and kept his guard up. Inside he was longing for something to be a part of. The brother was ready to beg, steal, borrow, or barter.
Then a hurricane came and devastation reigned. Our man saw his future dripping down the drain. Put a pencil to his temple, connected it to his brain, and he wrote his first refrain, a testament to his pain.
Well, the word got around, they said this kid is insane, man. Took up a collection just to send him to the mainland. Get your education, don't forget from whence you came, and the world's gonna know your name. What's your name, man?
Alexander Hamilton. My name is Alexander Hamilton. And there's a million things I haven't done. But just you wait, just you wait.
We fought with him. Me, I died for him.
Me, I trusted him.
Me, I loved him.
And me, I'm the damn fool that shot him.
There's a million things I haven't done. Just you wait.
What's your name, man?
Alexander Hamilton.
Alexander Hamilton. It's a strong start. But already we've got a key theme of identity just running out of there. Like, all those people think they know who Alexander Hamilton is.
Absolutely. And I think throughout the whole thing, there's always that question of him trying to work out exactly who he is in relation to everything that's going on around him.
Yeah, you'll see this now in some of the next few songs, isn't it? Quite quickly, you realise that although Alexander's identity is one thing, I think he longs for it to be another. He wants to be better than people, than society believe he is, really.
Yeah, the whole thing of this musical is he has this idea of what he wants to be, what he wants to achieve, where he wants to get to. And it's almost, I will stop at nothing to get there.
Yeah.
I don't really mind or care much who I hurt, the things I have to do. Actually, as long as I achieve what I want to achieve, that's what really matters. The end always justifies the means to him, I think.
He's just one of those people that you'd see on Facebook or Instagram that are just unbearably motivated and just reach for the stars, don't they, really? He's one of those people who just wants things so badly and will constantly try and be that person that he wants to be.
Absolutely, and you kind of see it in the people around him that see this and say, actually, yeah, we think you're amazing, we want to support you in doing this. And so they do, and then he kind of almost at every opportunity then turns his back on those people. So right from the very beginning, as we've just seen, where he lived in the Caribbean, the people there raised money for him to send him off on a ship. Don't forget from whence you came, man, as it says. But then they never get a mention again until things have gone really wrong. He's like, oh, well, I've come from this.
Exactly, yeah. And it starts with such promise, but you'll soon see.
Yeah, you will indeed.
It doesn't end with the promise.
It does not. But those questions of identity, you see them, I think, of, is he defined by the people that he encounters? When you see them kind of go through, it's, I fought with him, I died for him, I trusted him, I loved him.
I was the damn fool that shot him.
Exactly. And it's kind of, is that who his whose identity is? Is his identity actually that he came from the Caribbean and suffered through all of this heartache? Or is his identity actually in the things that he goes on to achieve? Is it all of them? Is it none of them?
Which we'll soon see.
Indeed.
1776. New York City.
Pardon me, are you Aaron Burr, sir?
That depends. Who's asking?
Oh, well, sure. Sir, I'm Alexander Hamilton. I'm at your service, sir. I have been looking for you.
I'm getting nervous.
Sir, I heard your name at Princeton. I was seeking an accelerated course of study. When I got sort of out of sorts with a buddy of yours, I may have punched him. It's a blur, sir. He handles the financials.
You punched the bursar?
Yes, I wanted to do what you did, graduate in 2 and join the revolution. He looked at me like I was stupid. I'm not stupid. So how'd you do it? How'd you graduate so fast?
It was my parents' dying wish before they passed.
You're an orphan, of course. I'm an orphan. God, I wish there was a war, then we could prove that we're worth more than anyone bargained for.
Can I buy you a drink?
That would be nice.
While we're talking, let me offer you some free advice. Talk less.
What?
Smile more.
Ah.
Don't let them know what you're against or what you're for. Well, if it ain't the prodigy of Princeton College,
Aaron Burr.
give us a verse, drop some knowledge. Good luck with that, you're taking a stand. You spit, I'ma sit, we'll see where we land.
The revolution's imminent, what do you stall for?
If you stand for nothing, Burr, what'll you fall for?
Pardon me, are you Aaron Burr, sir?
That depends. Who's asking?
Oh, why? Certainly, sir. We're not going to carry on.
We're not going to carry on, no. But this is kind of the big the introduction to the big second character, Aaron Burr. It's the whole thing, exactly. The whole thing really is between Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. Right from the beginning, right to the end. And it's already set them off as polar opposites, I think, really. And Alexander Hamilton, someone who wears his heart on his sleeve, who you know exactly what he thinks about everything. Yeah. Who just talks and talks and talks and says and really shows who he is.
And he's not afraid to tell people what he thinks either, is he?
No.
He won't just kind of put his politics in a box and pretend. He won't. He just stands up and fights for what he believes in the whole way through this, I think. He's really outspoken. That sense of integrity, his is questionable. However, there is some integrity in that he always stands firm to what he believes and speaks the truth about it.
He might betray and undermine everybody that's ever helped him,
but not his own beliefs and values, I don't think.
But he has that he holds to throughout, and there is a couple of songs later on that we'll talk about that I think really show that. But you see that in this song in direct comparison to Aaron Burr, who the first thing that he says to Hamilton, really giving him advice, talk less.
Smile more.
Don't let them know what you're against or what you're for. And I find that such a fascinating perspective, because I can when you think about it, I can entirely see where he's coming from. In a society that's tearing itself apart, that that is so uncertain, that everybody thinks there is going to be a war imminently. You can kind of see where he's coming from. Actually, I don't want to commit one way or the other, because actually I don't want to end up dead.
It's true, yeah.
I have a lot of sympathy with him, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like when you go on Facebook, isn't it? And you see someone's politics post and you think, do I want to pull him up on that? Or, no, actually, not tonight. No, I can't do it tonight. Is it healthy to not express what you believe? Does he even know himself what he believes? Aaron Burr, and I know this is a spoiler, but Aaron Burr, I think, unlike Hamilton, he will literally believe whatever will get him into power. He's one of those kind of politicians, isn't he?
Definitely. Yeah. And so there are huge questions portrayed right from the very beginning about Aaron Burr's integrity. Yeah. And does he have any, essentially?
So how about applying this to our lives?
Well, I think it's quite simple, really. It's actually, working out what it is you believe in life and what things you're willing to stand up for and speak up for. And obviously, as Christians, there are certain things that we are called to speak out.
I always come back to that verse from Micah about loving justice, and that call upon us to always speak up for justice and speak up for those people who are silenced and don't have a voice, actually. I mean, we're so privileged as British people, white British middle-class people. We are very, very privileged that we have a voice, and when we speak, people listen. And I just feel like, what do we want people to listen to when we speak? You know, I think we should be speaking up for justice at all costs. Absolutely. Actually, and often this gets me into trouble on Facebook. So
yeah, and it's not something that's unique to Christians. Obviously, it's something that actually all of us, I think, are asked in life. What is it you believe? What are you going to stand up for? What are you willing to fall for?
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, actually, you know, about that idea of being a privileged voice that people will listen to. Aaron Burr is one of those privileged voices. So he is also an orphan later on in life. Exactly, yeah. I'm a trust fund baby. I love it. I love it. But, you know, essentially, actually, although his parents also have died, like Hamilton's, you know, he hasn't come from nothing.
No.
He has money and he has education and he has the ability to use his privilege for good. And instead he stays quiet.
And uses it for himself.
Yeah.
Angelica, Eliza, and Peggy. Angelica, Eliza. Daddy said to be home by sundown. Daddy doesn't need to know. Daddy said not to go downtown. Like I said, you're free to go. But look around, the revolution's happening in New York. New York. Angelica, it's bad enough Daddy wants to go to war. People shouting in the square. It's bad enough there'll be violence on our shore. New ideas in the air. Look around. Angelica, remind me what we're looking for.
She's looking for me.
Eliza, I'm looking for a minded work. I'm looking for a minded work. I'm looking for a minded work.
There's nothing like summer in the city. Someone in a rush next to someone looking pretty. Excuse me, miss, I know it's not funny, but your perfume smells like your daddy's got money. While you slumming in the city in your fancy heels, you searching for an urchin who can give you ideals.
Where you disgust me.
Ah, so you've discussed me. I'm a trust fund, baby, you can trust me.
I've been reading Common Sense by Thomas Paine. So men say that I'm intense or I'm insane. You want a revolution, I want a revelation. So listen to my declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And when I meet Thomas Jefferson, I will compel him to include women in the sequel.
Strong, powerful women. Right? I'm not going to lie, my favourite character in Hamilton is actually Angelica. Not Eliza or Peggy. But I absolutely love Angelica. She is just an example of a strong, powerful woman that speaks up and that ain't afraid to shout to be heard.
Absolutely.
That line in the song about all men are treated equal, but women are the sequel, or put women in the sequel, I just love. I absolutely love it. Do you know, one of the big bees in my bonnet through ministry has been being a woman and how quite often the church is just patriarchal and clings on to tradition that actually excludes women.
And it's something as simple as the use of language, isn't it? Of saying, actually, oh, well, we know that talking about mankind means
everyone. Yeah.
But actually, it's really not difficult to say human or humanity instead. And it might not be an issue for you, and that's absolutely fine, which is wonderful. But actually, even if it's one person that thinks, well, I'd rather you'd said human.
And I will be that person. From the pulpit, I will be that person, genuinely. Like, I remember when Singing the Faith came out, the new Methodist hymn book, for those not Methodist, except it's not new now, it's quite old. But they had changed some of the language to be inclusive. So it would be humankind instead of mankind. And I remember having an argument with a man that I very much looked up to, actually, and still do. He's a great man, a really kind and caring man. But he just couldn't grasp why it needed to be changed to humankind and why that was necessary. Now, as a younger woman, maybe that's why I've got to be in my bonnet about it. But, you know, I would much prefer to be singing about how God saved all people not just men, and how actually God's love is for humanity, not just mankind.
Absolutely. But I think this song really is a perfect example.
Yeah.
As you said, you've used that phrase, but then there's the bit where Aaron Burr approaches them again and basically starts to flirt with them.
I'm a trust fund, baby, you can trust me.
And it's just that thing of him saying to them, look, I'm rich.
I've got money, you should want me.
You should want me. And she's like, actually, you disgust me.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm like, yes, you go, girl.
And it's just saying that actually, no, these three characters aren't solely defined. Again, coming back to identity, not solely defined by the people that they're in relationships with.
And yet, we do see a glimmer still, though, of women having to toe that line of patriarchy. So Angelica actually meets Alexander Hamilton first and falls for him, quite simply, looks in his eyes and thinks, yeah, I love him, I want a bit of that. However, she can't, because she's the oldest of the three daughters and she's expected to marry into money in order to keep the family name. Now, you know, it's quite clear throughout the musical, and you'll see this in some of the other songs, her and Hamilton were meant to be.
Basically
really
having an emotional affair.
She's very much expected to kind of suppress those feelings in her heart of love and just marry where money is. And I think
actually, when you look at where they ultimately end up, if there hadn't have been that sense of having to judge him by where he was, then she would have married rich, essentially, as ultimately the person who becomes Secretary of the Treasury and has these really high-powered roles. Actually, she could have married him and achieved all of that. But because he wasn't there already, she wasn't allowed to.
Just going to poke the bear a little bit here and just bring up the royal family, actually. I know, I'm going to. Now, I'm not a royalist, you know this. However, Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding, I did kind of tune into. I was really keen to look at that on Twitter and this sort of thing. But actually, just how slated Meghan Markle is for not being the kind of ideal of a royal wife. Not wanting to just toe that royal line, because she is a strong, powerful woman who has a name in her own right and has done amazing work herself. I mean, we all still miss her in Suits. Just saying.
Absolutely.
So, you know, actually, just how badly she's been treated by the public, potentially by the royal family as well, but I don't want to get arrested by the Queen for saying that, so I'm not entirely sure. But, you know, just how badly she has been treated because she doesn't toe that line of being the perfect woman, quiet, silent, by her husband's side.
So while we're talking royalty, can we skip to my favourite song?
Yes, we can. Let's play Jez's favourite song. Enjoy this clip now.
You say the price of my love's not a price that you're willing to pay. You cry in your tea, which you heard in the sea when you see me go by. Why so sad? Remember we made an arrangement when you went away. Now you're making me mad. Remember, despite our estrangement, I'm your man. You'll be back, soon you'll see. You remember you belong to me. You'll be back, time will tell. You remember that I served you well. Oceans rise, empires fall. We have seen each other through it all. And when push comes to shove, I will send a fully armed battalion to remind you of my love. Da 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 da. You say our love is draining and you can't go on. You'll be the one complaining when I am gone. And now don't change the subject, 'cause you're my favorite subject, my sweet submissive subject, my loyal royal subject. subject forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. You'll be back like before. I will fight the fight and win the war for your love, for your praise, and I'll love you till my dying days. When you're gone, I'll go mad, so don't throw away this thing we had. 'Cause when push comes to shove, I will kill your friends and family to remind you of my love.
King George is my favourite character in
He
this.
loves
I'm not going to
it.
pretend. The way in which he's played and the humour that's behind it, and when you see a couple of his songs later on, the strops
Oh
that he
yeah.
has,
Oh yeah.
when he's finally lost and he just kind of at the end just goes, oh, and then walks off stage. It's just brilliant.
Jonathan Groff is very good.
He really is.
Yeah.
This song in particular has some really important questions, I think, about what love is. And you can see just how misguided King George's perception of love is. I'll send a fully armed battalion to remind you of my love. I'll kill your friends and family to remind you of my love. And I don't know about you, but I'm not entirely convinced that that's what love is.
I don't think that's what love is, no, 100%. But it's fascinating because he thinks his kind of acts of strong, powerful dictatorship is love. Yeah.
And I think actually this one has some really interesting questions and challenges for us as Christians.
Yeah.
Because you read through so much of the Old Testament and actually you see people perceiving God's love as giving us power and dominion over this,
letting us kill people, yeah.
And that's God showing his love to his people. But then you move into the New Testament and actually you see Jesus truly expressing what love is. Love that would lay down a life for their friends, but even more than their friends, for the whole of the world. And God saying, actually, no, this is love. Love is self-sacrificial, love is giving. Love is not abusive, love is not anything like that. Love is not what King George is talking about.
No, because it's
love
safe
is
to
something
say
so different.
It's safe to say that King George would not lay down his life for one of his loyal servants at all. Loyal, royal subjects.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no way would King George lay down his life.
And actually, he fully expects people to just give to him. There's no giving back.
No.
It's all giving to him.
He's not a good example of a leader, is he? Let's be honest. He's not a good example of a leader.
Hey, 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 hey.
Ooh, I do what I do. Hey, ooh, I do what I do. You got me helpless. Look into your eyes and the sky's the limit. I'm helpless. Down for the count and I'm drowning. I have never been the type to try and grab the spotlight. We were at a revel with some rebels on a hot night, laughing at my sister as she's dazzling in the room. Then you walked in and my heart went boom. Trying to catch your eye from the side of the ballroom. Everybody's dancing and the band's top volume. Grind to the rhythm as we whine and dine. Grab my sister and whisper, yo, this one's mine. Ooh, my sister made her way across the room to you. And I got nervous thinking, what's she gonna do? She grabs you by the arm, I'm thinking I'm through. Then you look back at me and suddenly I'm helpless. Oh, look at those eyes. Oh, I'm helpless. I know. Down for the count and I'm drowning. I'm so into you. I'm so into you. Helpless. I know I'm down for the count and I'm drowning. 2 weeks later in the living room stressing, my father stone-faced while you're asking for his blessing. I'm dying inside as you whine and dine, and I'm trying not to cry, cause there's nothing that your mind can't do. My father makes his way across the room to you. I panic for a second thinking we're through, but then he shakes your hand and says, be true.
The lies Eliza. I don't have a dollar to my name, an acre of land, a troop to command, a dollop of fame. All I have's my honor, a tolerance for pain, a couple of college credits and my top-notch brain. Insane. Your family brings out a different side of me. Peggy confides in me. Angelica tried to take a bite of me. No stress, my love for you is never in doubt. We'll get a little place in Harlem and we'll figure it out. I've been living without a family since I was a child. My father left, my mother died. I grew up buck wild, but I'll never forget my mother's face. That was real. As long as I'm alive, I swear to God, you'll never feel that.
Do you know, that's my favourite song. Boy, you got me helpless.
You only like it because Amber Riley sang it.
It's true. I just love it. It's a great song. But I think it raises questions, doesn't it, about our sense of worth. So when you're watching that song, you might have picked up on how Eliza all the way through is kind of doubtful and questioning and thinking something's going to go wrong. And she's really panicky about, you know, oh, maybe Angelica's going to steal him. Maybe my dad's going to say no. Maybe he's going to change his mind. It's all going to go wrong.
Absolutely.
You know, and actually, as we've already talked about at the start, you know, Hamilton's identity and all of those things that people place upon him. It's interesting, isn't it, that I think for Eliza, her identity is quite strongly wrapped up in what other people say her worth is.
It's very obvious that she's the second sister of
Yes,
this.
100%.
Knowing that Angelica is that strong woman that could go and take whatever she wants,
yeah.
including Hamilton. Knowing that her dad is actually the one who's going to ultimately decide whether she's allowed to marry the man that she loves.
Which is awful. But
It
yeah.
is. Knowing that throughout, actually, Hamilton ultimately could have anyone he wants, so why would he want her, actually?
When actually, she's the one who's got the good name, the family, the wealthy family, the middle class status.
She appears on the outside to bring a lot more to this than he does.
100%. You know, he hasn't got any money. He struggles for his education. He's got to fight for everything he has got. You know, and he says, doesn't he? Eliza, I don't have a dollar to my name, an acre of land, a troop to command.
A dollop of fame.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything to offer her, and yet she's kind of pleading with him. She's the one doing the chase. Yeah, 100%. You know, but I do like his kind of attitude of, you know, we'll get a little place in Harlem and we'll figure it out. And I love that sense of love where actually it doesn't matter that we haven't got anything as long as we've got each other.
And I think actually we can kind of almost have these issues in our whole lives, in our faith life as well, thinking actually God has called me to something, God has said here's something for you. And I think it's really natural, the first thing to think is, well, I can think of 100 people better suited to this than me. So why is God calling me to this? Why would God let me do this? I'm going to start it, something's going to go wrong, and someone else will say, well, we should have gone with this person. Yeah. And I think that's so true of everything that we face. Actually, that we always have those sense of inadequacy, as we see in this. But God tells each one of us that actually He goes with us, He equips us, He calls us, He sends us.
100%.
And it comes back again to identity. Our identity is in Christ, and we can trust in Him.
So I suppose when we're feeling helpless, we can just turn our eyes to God.
Instead of me, he promotes Charles Lee, makes him second in command.
I'm a general.
Yeah, he's not the choice I would have gone with. The bet at the Battle of Monmouth.
Everyone attack! Attack! What are you doing, Lee? Get back on your feet!
So many
I'm sorry, is this not your speed? Hamilton,
ready, sir?
Have Lafayette take the lead!
1,000 soldiers die in 100-degree heat as we snatch a stalemate from the jaws of defeat.
Charles Lee was left behind without a pot to piss in. He started saying this to anybody who would listen.
Washington cannot be left alone to his devices. Indecisive from crisis to crisis. The best thing he could do for the revolution is turn and go back to planting tobacco in Mount Vernon.
Don't do a thing. History will prove him wrong.
But sir,
we have a war to fight. Let's move along.
Strong words from Lee. Someone ought to hold him to it.
I can't disobey direct orders.
Then I'll do it. Alexander, you're the closest friend I've got.
Lawrence, do not throw away your shot.
Fire! Lee, do you yield?
You shot him in the side, yes he yields.
I'm satisfied.
Yeah, we gotta clear the field.
Go, we won.
Here comes the general.
This should be fun.
What is the meaning of this? Mr. Bird, get a medic for the general.
Yes, sir.
Lee, you will never agree with me, but believe me, these young men don't speak for me. Thank you for your service.
Oh, Hamilton's been a naughty boy.
It's all starting to kick off, isn't it?
It's kicking off.
So we've had our first duel of the show, which is one of 3, and you'll see they get slightly more serious as we go.
Just
through.
a bit, yeah.
But as we're seeing this, we're seeing
he's having a telling off, yeah.
He is the different responses of how to deal with this conflict.
Yeah.
General Lee has, for want of a better phrase, bed at Monmouth.
Apparently, yeah.
Which is the word.
Which is the word they use
it
just
is,
to say, yeah.
Set in context.
Basically, he's been just really dragging Washington's name through the mud, and Hamilton ain't happy. And he says to Washington, "Come on, we need to teach him a lesson for this." And Washington's like, "Grow up, mate. My name can take it.
Things are hard enough without you
We're in the
angering
middle of
our
a war.
allies. Come on, get your priorities
We're in the
right.
middle of an uprising, and you want to kick off because someone's just said I'm rubbish. Like, yeah.
But then Hamilton's mates, as they are throughout, really are kind of brash and bold and say, actually, we're going to go and deal with this. So John Lawrence goes off and says, right, I'm gonna.
But this is part of the problem, isn't it? Hamilton he's got a following by this point. Those men really look up to him, and this is where he should have been more Washington about saying, actually, boys, I appreciate you coming in as backup. I've calmed down now, and I realise, this isn't what's best for the country. This isn't what's best for our uprising.
And this is one of the times I think Hamilton actually shows a lack of integrity in his position, in that Washington has said to him, don't rise to it, don't do anything.
But he thinks he's untouchable.
And so he doesn't. He specifically says, I can't disobey a direct order.
So make someone
So
else.
John Lawrence does it, and he says, yeah, but I'll be your second, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. He supports someone else to do it. Kind of encourages it, I think.
But this message of how to deal with conflict and people kind of attacking you, whether literally or metaphorically, is so clear throughout the Gospels, isn't it? Jesus' phrasing, turn the other cheek. Actually, love them, love your enemies.
Yeah, that'll wind him up more.
Not sure those is exactly.
It should have been a little insert. It's that if you look really closely in your Bible when it says to.
Is that from the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Love your neighbours. Yeah. There's a little star there is, and then it says underneath, Jesus says it'll wind him up more.
but that challenge of actually saying that this is the way to deal with these conflicts. Don't rise to it. Don't fight back. Be loving and treat them like that. And I know we were talking on Sunday, weren't we, about treating them like tax collectors and Gentiles. Yeah. And actually Jesus' thing saying, and look how Jesus treats tax collectors and Gentiles.
Goes round to their house for tea, loves them even harder to try and, show them their sense of worth and that they are loved and known by God, really. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Which must be even more annoying.
Definitely.
The Battle of Yorktown, 1781.
Monsieur Hamilton!
Monsieur Lafayette!
In command where you belong!
Are you saying no sweat? We're finally on the field. We've had quite a run.
Immigrants, we get the job done.
They stagger home single file. Tens of thousands of people flood the streets. There are screams and church bells ringing. And as a fallen foe's retreat, I hear the drinking song they're singing.
Immigrants, we get the job done. It's a brilliant line, isn't it?
Yeah, but Jed's told me this interesting fact from when he Googles hours worth of Hamilton.
Well, they pop up on Facebook.
Yeah, that apparently they had to leave a bar in the musical on stage after they'd said that line because people would laugh so hard they'd miss the rest of what was coming.
Yeah, so, and I think you hear it in this recording as well. They say, immigrants, we get the job done. And in the background, there's kind of like a little record scratching. That is literally in there just to give the audience the opportunity to applaud and to say, yeah, we love that line.
I love it.
Wes loves it as well, clearly, because he's decided to show up.
But do you know what? How appropriate is that for where we are right now as a country?
Absolutely. As a whole world.
Yeah, 100%.
As the world becomes more protectionist and more segregated.
Yeah.
Actually recognising that these people who really shouldn't have been given any position in this country because they weren't from there, they were immigrants.
Which we don't believe.
No,
this is
just saying what the general attitude could have been. So no, actually all of these people who shouldn't have been given anything are the two who come in and ultimately
sort things out,
get the job done.
Yeah.
And saying, actually, look at this. Things should be so different here. And yet, they're not.
And how much does that ring true with that narrative today of immigrants just come over here to steal our jobs, to take our benefits? But actually, if my doctor's an immigrant, that's all right. I'll be treated by them, yeah.
It's that Facebook meme, isn't it? Schrodinger's immigrant. The immigrant who simultaneously steals your job while scrounging your benefits. And it's like, it doesn't quite work.
No, exactly.
And this song as well, as it goes through, as it develops, the Battle of Yorktown, once they finally won and the British have surrendered and are leaving, the drinking song that they're singing, the world turned upside down. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a nice little tune as well.
It is, and it's just from their perspective, everything is different. The king has been overthrown. They can create the country that they want. They can do whatever it is they want to do in this new society.
It's really powerful.
It is, and actually, I think it's really hard to hear that song and not be kind of drawn into it. Yeah, this world is a new world. Actually, I really want to see what's going to happen in the next act, to see how they create this new country. And I think so often in the Christian faith we lose the power of the world being turned upside down. But actually that's at the fundamental centre of our faith. Jesus turning the world upside down, and yet we lose so much of that in the way we talk about it.
I find that that narrative comes out particularly on Palm Sunday for me, actually, when we hear that reading of Jesus coming into Jerusalem, that triumphant entry that he did on a donkey. Instead of a horse, instead of a big warrior of a man, you just get this man in flip-flops and a toga, you know, just coming in on a donkey instead.
Not even designer flip-flops.
Well, no, it wouldn't be Birkenstock, like Primark.
Absolutely.
But, you know, just that element of turning the world upside down. He's not coming to be what they expect. He's coming to be the complete opposite of that. And yet, still turns the world upside down by doing the most incredible thing.
And I wonder how often we talk about our faith in the context of Jesus came to turn the world upside down.
Yeah.
Does our faith show a world that is turned upside down, or does it show a world that kind of just carries on as before with maybe a few little tweaks? And which one should it be? Should it be challenged to show?
I mean, it's life-changing, isn't it? Like, back after the Battle of Yorktown, things would never be the same again. And we know they never have been the same again. And after Jesus came and died and was resurrected, things were never, ever the same again. And you know, how often do we really speak of that transformation? That it's incredible.